I think I touched on it briefly in terms of how, when you asked me why do parents think it's important for their kids to have music lessons when they're little but don't want them to go into it as a career. Children learn in different ways. Some people learn by reading, some people learn by doing, some people learn by listening. And not everyone does everything the same way. Not everyone experiences things in the same way. I was a horrible athlete. I was the klutziest kid. I was so bad that, the 6th grade versus faculty volleyball game, they said, we'll make you the scorekeeper. Okay? That was not my strength. Music was my strength growing up. And I think if I hadn't had that as an avenue to be able to participate in and see some success, that my experience as a student would have been very different. Not to say that everyone experiences music the same way. I mean, some kids don't like music class, some kids do. But I think that the value of music education is that it teaches you to listen, which is an important skill that I think we kind of forget these days. I mean, listening is, we don't do it. We don't pay attention. We have very short attention spans. If you're going to perform a piece of music, you have to have a sustained level of attention, especially if you're in a group situation, which in schools is primarily what's happening. You're working with other people, so you're having to listen, you're having to pay attention to things, you're having to learn to work with other people in your group, you're having to learn patience, because you might be the great trumpet player and the kid next to you is the awful trumpet player, but you have to be patient with them. Discipline, obviously, because you've got to practice, you've got to learn that. I think that the whole idea that you're participating in something not because you're going to get something that is, you're not going to get paid for it. You're participating in something for the sheer enjoyment of it, for the sheer pleasure of it. I think that has an inherent value. That there are a lot of things that we do not because we're going to get something from it, but because we like doing it. And I see that that's a valuable experience in schools. To give kids an opportunity to do something that they can be successful at and have fun at, I don't see a minus to that at all. Well, I mean, we've all heard that music and math are all handled on the same side of the brain. It's that left brain, right brain kind of thing. I have to say, I don't think I was the best math student, so I may not be a good example of that. But I think any time that you're stretched to think of things in a different way, that it's going to enhance your ability to deal with other subjects. I go back to that thing of not everybody thinks the same way. I remember having music teachers in college who would say, oh, when you play this piece, it needs to be legato here, and you need to crescendo, and then it needs to have rubato, and blah, 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 blah. And I'd sit there and I'd struggle with, what were they really talking about? Switched teachers, and had one teacher, and I'll never forget this, he says, play this line like it was a leaf falling off a tree. And I went, bingo, that's it. Everybody thinks and sees things in a different way, and I think an activity like music allows people to explore those different ways of thinking and seeing.